Welcome to Golden Haven, where every bedtime story becomes a peaceful dream. The Whispering Bridge of Forgotten Wishes. The letter that never arrived. The morning after Noah began his own journey, the little white cottage beside the river felt quieter than ever. The book of gentle stories rested peacefully upon its wooden shelf. Its golden lantern emblem glowed only faintly now, as if waiting for the next tale to awaken. Outside, dew shimmered across the wildflowers. The river drifted lazily beneath the first light of dawn. Birdsong floated gently through the open windows. Mira stood in the garden, watering the lavender grandmother Linnea had planted many years before. Every flower seemed to bloom in peaceful silence. Captain Rowan sat beneath the old oak tree, carefully polishing his weathered lantern. Oliver was feeding a family of sparrows. Horace quietly repaired the hands of an antique clock whose soft ticking blended perfectly with the breeze. Nothing magical happened, and yet everything felt wonderfully alive. Grandmother Linnea smiled as she watched them. The quietest mornings often bring the greatest surprises. Just then, a gentle breeze wandered through the valley. It carried with it something unusual, a single white envelope. The envelope floated gracefully through the air like a feather before landing softly at Mira's feet. She bent down and picked it up. There was no stamp. No address, only 4 elegant silver words written across the front. For the one who listens. Mira looked around. There isn't anyone here. Horace smiled gently. Perhaps there is. She slowly opened the envelope. Inside rested a single piece of pale blue paper. Across the page, only one sentence appeared. The Whispering Bridge remembers every forgotten wish. Nothing more. No signature. No map. No explanation. Oliver frowned thoughtfully. A bridge. Captain Rowan looked toward the distant mountains beyond the valley. I've heard stories, but I never believed they were real. Grandmother Linnea's expression softened. I hoped we would never need to visit that place. Mira looked up. What is the Whispering Bridge? For a few peaceful moments. No one answered. Only the wind moved gently through the trees. Finally, Horace spoke. Long ago, there was a bridge that connected not 2 lands, but 2 hearts. It was said that every wish spoken with true kindness crossed that bridge. But wishes born from fear never reached the other side. Oliver listened carefully. What happened to it? Captain Rowan sighed quietly. People stopped believing. They became too busy. They forgot to listen. And one day, the bridge disappeared. The room grew still. Grandmother Linnea placed a gentle hand upon the letter. But forgotten wishes never truly vanish. They simply wait for someone willing to hear them again. At that very moment, the old brass key Grandmother Linnea had once given to Mira shimmered softly inside her pocket. Outside, far beyond the valley, a faint silver mist began rising between 2 distant mountains. For just a heartbeat, it looked almost like the outline of an ancient bridge suspended among the clouds. Then it disappeared. Mira folded the mysterious letter carefully. She smiled with quiet determination. I think someone is waiting. Captain Rowan stood and lifted his lantern. Horace closed his silver pocket watch. Oliver slung his satchel over his shoulder. Grandmother Linnea smiled warmly. The next journey has already begun. Far away, beyond rivers, beyond forests, beyond memories themselves. The whispering bridge waited in silence, still carrying wishes that had never reached home. The map hidden in morning mist. The valley awakened beneath a sky of pale gold. Soft rays of sunlight filtered through the ancient oak trees, painting gentle patterns across the grass. The little white cottage slowly disappeared behind Mira and her companions as they began another peaceful journey. No one hurried. Some destinations were meant to be reached slowly. Captain Rowan walked in front, his lantern hanging quietly from his hand. Although morning had already arrived, the lantern continued to glow with a warm golden light. Oliver smiled. It still shines. Captain Rowan nodded. Some lights aren't meant to chase away darkness. They simply remind us where hope lies. The gentle path led them through fields of lavender. Thousands of butterflies drifted lazily among the flowers. The air smelled of rain, wild herbs, and fresh earth. Everything felt wonderfully calm. Yet Mira couldn't stop thinking about the mysterious letter. She unfolded it once more. Only the same sentence remained. The whispering bridge remembers every forgotten wish. Suddenly, a cool breeze passed over the paper. Silver lines slowly began appearing across the page. Oliver's eyes widened. It's changing. The blank spaces filled themselves with delicate drawings. Tiny rivers, rolling hills, an ancient forest, snow-covered mountains. At the very center, a graceful bridge stretched across a glowing canyon filled with silver mist. Beneath the drawing appeared another sentence. Only those who listen with kindness may find the first path. Horace studied the map carefully. This isn't an ordinary map. It doesn't show where the bridge is. It shows who is ready to find it. Mira traced the glowing path with her fingertips. As she touched it, the silver line began moving. Like flowing water, it slowly extended beyond the edge of the page, then continued across the ground itself. A narrow trail of shimmering light appeared among the wildflowers. Captain Rowan smiled softly. Our road has chosen us. They followed the glowing trail. It wound peacefully through the valley until they reached an old stone wall hidden beneath climbing ivy. Grandmother Linnea stopped walking. I remember this place. When I was little, my grandmother told me every wish whispered into this well would travel farther than the wind. Oliver looked inside. The well was empty, or so it seemed. Then, a tiny voice floated upward, barely louder than a whisper. I wish my father had heard me. Another voice followed. I wish I had said goodbye. Then another. I wish someone believed in me. The travelers stood perfectly still. Hundreds of gentle whispers rose from deep within the ancient well. Not frightening, not sorrowful, simply unfinished. Mira closed her eyes. She listened carefully. Each whisper carried kindness that had never found its destination. Each wish still waited patiently. Horace smiled. Now we understand. The bridge doesn't carry wishes. It carries the words people were never able to say. As the final whisper faded, the silver trail brightened once again. This time it pointed toward the distant forest where morning mist curled gently between towering trees. Far beyond those woods, something ancient seemed to awaken. The outline of graceful stone arches shimmered briefly above the mist, then disappeared like a forgotten dream. Mira smiled quietly. The bridge is calling. Together, they stepped into the whispering forest, where every tree remembered promises that time had almost forgotten. the forest that remembered every goodbye. Morning mist drifted gently between the towering trees as Mira and her companions entered the ancient forest. The world behind them slowly disappeared. Only the narrow silver trail remained visible beneath their feet. Every tree seemed older than memory itself. Their enormous branches stretched high into the sky, woven together like the ceiling of a peaceful cathedral. Golden leaves fluttered softly through the air. Yet, no wind could be felt. Oliver looked around in amazement. How are the leaves falling if nothing is moving? Horace smiled knowingly. These are not ordinary leaves. They fall whenever someone remembers. Mira reached out and caught one before it touched the ground. Its surface shimmered like polished glass. As she held it, a quiet voice echoed gently inside her heart. "Goodbye, my little bird." For just a moment, she saw the image of an elderly woman smiling warmly as a young girl waved one final time before beginning a journey across the sea. Then the vision faded. The leaf dissolved into tiny points of golden light. Mira whispered, "That wasn't my memory." Grandmother Linnea nodded softly. "No, it belongs to someone who once walked this forest." Captain Rowan gently touched the bark of a great silver oak. The ancient tree glowed faintly. Another memory appeared. A sailor embraced his young son before sailing into the unknown. Neither knew it would be their final farewell. Oliver lowered his eyes. So the forest remembers everyone. The words people never had the chance to finish. Horace answered quietly. Nothing spoken with love is ever truly lost. The world remembers more than we imagine. They continued walking. The deeper they traveled, the quieter the forest became. Even the birds had fallen silent. Only the soft footsteps of the travelers echoed along the moss-covered path. At last, they arrived at a beautiful clearing. In its center stood a single enormous willow tree. Its silver branches touched the earth like flowing waterfalls. Thousands of tiny crystal ribbons hung from its limbs. Each ribbon shimmered with a different color: blue, gold, silver, rose, emerald. Mira stepped closer. Every ribbon carried a handwritten message. Some were only a few words, some only a single name. She gently read one aloud. "I never stopped believing in you." Another read, "Thank you for loving me." Another simply said, "Come home." Oliver's voice grew quiet. Who wrote all of these? Grandmother Linnea smiled gently. No one. They appeared whenever a goodbye was never fully spoken. Captain Rowan removed his hat. This tree has been listening for centuries. Just then, one ribbon began glowing brighter than all the others. It slowly untied itself from the willow branch. Floating gently through the air, it drifted toward Mira. She carefully caught it. Unlike the others, this ribbon contained no words, only a tiny silver feather stitched into its center. As Mira touched it, the mysterious blue letter inside her pocket grew warm. The silver map shimmered once more. A new path slowly revealed itself, not forward, but beneath the willow tree itself. The earth trembled gently. Roots shifted aside without making a sound. Hidden beneath them, an ancient stone staircase appeared, descending into a soft silver light. Horace looked downward. "I believe this is the first path." Captain Rowan lifted his glowing lantern. Its golden light merged beautifully with the silver glow below. Grandmother Linnea smiled. "The Whispering Bridge is allowing us to come closer." Mira took a slow breath, holding the ribbon in one hand and the mysterious letter in the other. She stepped onto the first ancient stair. Far below, a distant melody echoed through the hidden passage. It sounded almost like voices, softly whispering forgotten wishes to the stars. The Hall of Echoing Hearts. The ancient stone staircase spiraled gently beneath the roots of the silver willow. Each step glowed with a faint silver light, as though moonbeams had been carved into the stone itself. The air grew cooler, not cold, but wonderfully peaceful. Captain Rowan raised his lantern. Its golden flame danced softly against the smooth walls, revealing delicate carvings that stretched endlessly along the passage. Mira slowed her steps. The carvings were unlike anything she had ever seen. They were not pictures of kings or kingdoms. Instead, they showed ordinary people, a mother holding her child, two old friends laughing beneath an oak tree, a young musician playing a violin, a sailor watching the sunrise. Every face carried quiet happiness. Oliver smiled. They looked so alive. Horace gently brushed his fingers across one of the carvings. The greatest stories are often the simplest ones. They're the ones the heart remembers. As they continued deeper, the narrow staircase opened into a magnificent underground chamber. Everyone stopped in silent amazement. Before them stood an enormous circular hall. Its ceiling shimmered like the night sky, filled with thousands of tiny glowing stars. Crystal streams flowed silently around the edges of the room, reflecting silver and gold across the polished floor. At the very center stood a beautiful fountain. Instead of water, it released glowing whispers. Soft ribbons of light rose into the air, carrying voices so gentle they felt like music. I'm proud of you. You were never alone. Thank you. I forgive you. The whispers floated upward and disappeared among the stars above. Grandmother Linnea closed her eyes. This place is the Hall of Echoing Hearts. Mira looked around in wonder. Who built it? No one knows, Horace replied. It has existed for as long as kindness has existed. Captain Rowan walked slowly toward the fountain. As he approached, the golden lantern in his hand began glowing brighter than ever before. The ribbons of light gently circled around him. One whisper paused beside his shoulder. It sounded like the voice of a little girl. Thank you for bringing my father home. Captain Rowan's eyes became misty. For a moment, he simply smiled. I remember. The whisper turned into a tiny golden bird. With one graceful flap of its wings, it flew upward and disappeared into the glowing ceiling. Oliver watched in amazement. Every whisper finds peace here. Horace nodded. Not every wish reaches its destination, but every kind word eventually finds a home. Suddenly, a soft chime echoed through the chamber. The fountain became perfectly still. Every glowing ribbon froze in midair. The stars above dimmed. Then, a single bridge of silver light slowly appeared across the center of the hall. It stretched toward a pair of magnificent crystal doors standing silently at the opposite side. Across the doors were carved 7 glowing symbols. A feather, a lantern, a star, a key, a bridge, a heart, and an empty circle. Mira stepped closer. The last symbol. It isn't finished. Grandmother Linnea smiled gently. It has never been finished. It waits for the traveler who remembers the final wish. At that very moment, The mysterious blue letter inside Mira's pocket shimmered once again. Slowly, new words appeared beneath the first message. Only a heart willing to give away its own wish may cross the whispering bridge. Silence filled the chamber. Oliver looked at Mira. What if the bridge asks us to leave something behind? No one answered. Beyond the crystal doors, a soft silver breeze carried the faint sound of distant voices. The whispering bridge was closer than ever, and somewhere beyond those ancient doors, someone was still waiting for a forgotten wish to finally find its way home. The door that opened only for kindness. The hall of echoing hearts became perfectly still. Not even the crystal streams seemed to move. Only the soft glow of Captain Rowan's lantern illuminated the magnificent crystal doors before them. 7 ancient symbols shimmered quietly across their surface. A feather, a lantern, a star, a key, a bridge, a heart, and the final empty circle. Mira looked down at the mysterious blue letter resting in her hands. Its newest message lingered in her thoughts. Only a heart willing to give away its own wish may cross the whispering bridge. Oliver broke the silence. What does that mean? Do we have to lose our dreams? Grandmother Linnea smiled warmly. No, kindness never asks us to lose something. It asks us to share it. Horace slowly approached the crystal doors. He noticed 7 small stone pedestals standing before them. Each pedestal matched one of the glowing symbols. But the final pedestal, the one beneath the empty circle, was completely bare. Captain Rowan gently lifted his lantern. The lantern immediately floated from his hands and settled above the pedestal marked with the lantern symbol. A soft golden bell echoed through the chamber. One symbol began glowing brightly. The bridge remembers generosity, Horace whispered. Oliver searched inside his satchel. After a thoughtful moment, he removed the tiny wooden bird he had carved many years ago. I made this when I was little. It has always reminded me that hope can fly. He gently placed it upon the feather pedestal. The wooden bird transformed into a living silver sparrow. It circled happily above their heads before resting beside Captain Rowan's lantern. Another symbol awakened. Mira smiled. She reached into her pocket. The silver ribbon she had found beneath the willow tree still rested safely there. Without hesitation, she laid it gently upon the heart pedestal. The ribbon slowly unfolded. Instead of cloth, it became countless tiny silver lights floating gently through the chamber. Every light carried a peaceful heartbeat. Another symbol shone brightly. Grandmother Linnea stepped forward next. She carefully removed an old pressed lavender flower from the pages of a tiny notebook. I've carried this since I was a child. It reminds me that beautiful moments never truly fade. She placed it upon the star pedestal. The dried flower bloomed once again. Its fragrance filled the chamber with calm. A 4th symbol awakened. Horace smiled quietly. He removed his silver pocket watch. The watch had guided countless journeys. Its ticking had comforted many hearts. He gently placed it upon the key pedestal. The watch dissolved into shimmering silver dust. The 5th symbol glowed. Only 2 remained. The bridge and the empty circle. Everyone became silent once more. Then, a quiet voice echoed through the chamber, not from outside, but from within each of their hearts. Objects are remembered, but kindness is lived. The crystal doors trembled softly. The empty circle began glowing faintly. Mira suddenly understood. She stepped toward the final pedestal. I don't think the bridge wants another treasure. It wants a promise. She gently closed her eyes. Without speaking aloud, she made a wish. Not for herself, not for adventure, not for answers. Only this. May every lonely heart someday hear the words it has been waiting for. The chamber filled with brilliant silver light. The empty circle slowly completed itself. A warm golden heartbeat echoed through every corner of the hall. The great crystal doors opened without making a single sound. Beyond them, an endless silver bridge stretched across a sky filled with floating stars. There was no river beneath it, no valley, no mountains, only clouds glowing softly beneath the moonlight. Far in the distance, a solitary figure stood quietly at the center of the bridge, wrapped in a pale silver cloak, waiting, as though they had been expecting Mira's arrival all along. Captain Rowan smiled gently. I believe our real journey begins now. Together, they stepped onto the Whispering Bridge, and with every peaceful footstep, the forgotten wishes of countless hearts began whispering once again. The keeper between two worlds, the Whispering Bridge, welcomed them with complete silence. Each stone beneath their feet shimmered like polished moonlight. No cracks, no dust, only smooth silver pathways stretching endlessly across the glowing sky. Below the bridge, clouds drifted peacefully like slow-moving rivers. Above them, thousands of stars reflected upon one another until it became impossible to tell where the heavens ended and the bridge began. No one spoke. It felt as though even their voices wished to rest. Captain Rowan's lantern glowed with a softer light than ever before. Its golden flame no longer lit the path. Instead, the bridge itself seemed to shine in response to every kind step they took. Oliver smiled quietly. It's alive. Horace nodded. It has always been. The bridge listens. It remembers. And sometimes, it answers. As they walked farther, the mysterious figure waiting ahead slowly became clearer. A long silver cloak flowed gently around them, though no wind stirred the air. Their hair shimmered like strands of moonlight. Their hands rested calmly upon an ancient wooden staff carved with tiny stars and feathers. Yet, their face remained hidden beneath the gentle hood. The travelers stopped a respectful distance away. The figure bowed gracefully. When they finally spoke, their voice sounded like many peaceful voices woven together. Young, old, near, far, all at once. Welcome, travelers who still remember kindness. Mira stepped forward. Are you the guardian of the Whispering Bridge? The figure smiled softly. I am not its guardian. I am only its keeper. The bridge has never belonged to anyone. It belongs to every heart that still believes gentle words matter. Oliver looked around in wonder. So every whisper we've heard comes here. The keeper nodded. Every promise kept. Every apology never spoken. Every thank you carried only in silence. They all arrived here. Captain Rowan lowered his lantern respectfully, and the wishes that never arrived. The keeper looked toward the endless horizon. They wait, sometimes for years, sometimes for generations. But hope is never impatient. A peaceful silence followed. Then the keeper slowly raised the ancient staff. The stars above the bridge brightened. Tiny lights drifted downward like snowflakes. Each light became a glowing memory. Mira watched as dozens of scenes floated around them. A child sharing bread with a stranger. A teacher encouraging a frightened student. A daughter embracing her aging father. A traveler helping someone they would never meet again. No kings, no heroes, only ordinary kindness. The keeper spoke gently. The world remembers great victories, but this bridge remembers gentle hearts. Grandmother Linnea smiled. Perhaps those are the greatest victories. The keeper's hidden face turned toward her. You have walked this path before. Grandmother Linnea lowered her eyes. Many years ago, I was much younger and much more afraid. Oliver looked at her in surprise. You've been here. She nodded. Only once. The bridge gave me something I have carried ever since. Mira looked at the old brass key resting in her pocket. The key. Grandmother Linnea smiled. Yes, it was a gift from the Whispering Bridge. It doesn't open doors. It opens understanding. The keeper slowly extended a hand toward Mira. Floating above the palm appeared a single crystal droplet. Inside it shimmered countless tiny voices. So many wishes. Mira whispered. The keeper nodded. They are waiting for someone willing to listen. But before the bridge shares its greatest secret, you must first cross the path of silent echoes. The far end of the bridge suddenly transformed. Its smooth silver stones slowly faded into transparent crystal. Far below, the clouds disappeared. In their place lay an endless sea of glowing memories. Every step would reveal a forgotten wish. Every heartbeat would awaken another voice. Captain Rowan gently lifted his lantern once more. Its warm light reflected across the crystal path like a tiny sunrise. The keeper stepped aside. The bridge will not test your strength. It will only ask one question. The stars above dimmed. The crystal path stretched into the distance. Then, with a smile filled with quiet kindness, the keeper whispered, "Can you listen without trying to change the past?" Mira took a slow, peaceful breath. Together, they stepped onto the path of silent echoes, where every footstep awakened a memory that had waited a lifetime to be heard. The path of silent echoes. The path of silent echoes stretched endlessly before them. Its crystal surface was so clear that it seemed they were walking upon the quiet sky itself. Beneath every transparent stone, countless memories shimmered like stars resting beneath calm water. No voices, no footsteps, only silence. A silence so gentle. It felt peaceful rather than empty. Mira took the first careful step. The crystal beneath her feet glowed softly. At once, a warm golden memory bloomed below the bridge. She saw a little boy standing beside an old apple tree. His hands held a tiny wooden flute. An elderly man sat nearby, smiling patiently. Again, the old man encouraged. "You'll find a melody." The boy shook his head. "I'll never learn." The old man simply smiled. "You already have. You just haven't heard yourself yet." The memories slowly faded like morning mist. Oliver whispered, "That wasn't a famous story." Horace smiled. "The bridge has never cared for fame. It remembers kindness." Captain Rowan stepped forward. His crystal stone awakened another memory. A lonely lighthouse keeper opened his small cottage door during a winter storm. Outside stood a frightened traveler, soaked by the freezing rain. Without asking a single question, the keeper welcomed the stranger inside. He offered warm soup, dry clothes, a quiet fire. No reward was ever expected, only kindness. Captain Rowan watched silently until the memory disappeared. I wonder if they ever met again. The keeper answered softly. They didn't need to. Some kindness completes its journey in a single evening. They continued onward. With every step, another forgotten moment appeared. A young girl returning a lost necklace. A baker quietly leaving bread outside a hungry family's door before sunrise. A teacher placing a hand upon a nervous student's shoulder before an important examination. Tiny moments, simple moments, yet each one glowed brighter than the stars. Mira's heart felt strangely full. These aren't great miracles. The keeper smiled. They are. The world simply forgets where miracles begin. As they reached the middle of the crystal path, everything suddenly became still. The glowing memories beneath the bridge vanished. The crystal darkened. Even Captain Rowan's lantern grew dim. A gentle bell echoed once, then twice, then 3 times. The keeper quietly stopped walking. We have arrived. Ahead, a single crystal bench rested beneath an arch woven entirely from silver vines. Seated upon the bench was a little girl. She couldn't have been older than 8. She wore a pale blue dress embroidered with tiny silver stars. Her hands rested quietly in her lap. She smiled as though she had been expecting them for a very long time. Beside her sat a folded paper crane, perfectly white, perfectly still. Mira approached carefully. Hello. The little girl looked up with warm, gentle eyes. Hello. Her voice was as soft as falling snow. Oliver noticed something unusual. The little girl cast no reflection upon the crystal bridge. Captain Rowan lowered his lantern respectfully. The keeper spoke in almost a whisper. This is Alara, the first listener. Mira tilted her head. The first listener? The keeper nodded. Long before this bridge existed, Alara was the first person who chose to listen instead of judge, to comfort instead of speak, to understand instead of hurry away. The little girl gently picked up the paper crane. I've been waiting. She held the tiny crane toward Mira. It's time for someone else to carry the next forgotten wish. As Mira accepted the delicate paper bird, it unfolded by itself, not into paper, but into a glowing white dove. The dove circled peacefully above their heads. Then it flew toward the far end of the bridge, where a magnificent silver gate slowly emerged from the morning mist. Beyond that gate, faint golden lights shimmered like an entire city asleep beneath the stars. Alara smiled one final time. The city of forgotten wishes is ready to welcome you. The great silver gate began opening, very slowly, as if it had not moved for hundreds of years. A warm breeze drifted across the bridge. It carried laughter, lullabies, soft goodbyes, and thousands of whispered dreams waiting patiently to be remembered. Mira took a quiet breath. The greatest part of their journey was only just beginning. The city where wishes never faded. The great silver gate opened without making a sound. Beyond it lay a city unlike anything Mira had ever imagined. There were no towering castles, no bustling markets, no crowded streets. Instead, wide stone pathways curved gently between graceful cottages whose windows glowed with warm golden light. Crystal streams flowed peacefully beside flower-filled gardens. Every bridge shimmered softly beneath hanging lanterns shaped like stars. The entire city seemed wrapped in the calm light of an endless twilight. Oliver whispered, "It's beautiful." The keeper smiled. "This is Linares, the city of forgotten wishes. No wish is forgotten here. It simply waits until someone is ready to carry it home." As they entered the city, the streets remained wonderfully quiet. Yet the silence wasn't empty. It was filled with gentle sounds. A distant lullaby, children laughing somewhere beyond the gardens, the soft turning of wind chimes, the peaceful ticking of old clocks. Every sound blended together like a comforting bedtime melody. Captain Rowan noticed something unusual. "There aren't many people." The keeper nodded. "There are only those who choose to stay." Mira looked around curiously. "Stay." "Some hearts," the keeper explained, "find such peace here that they become caretakers of forgotten hopes. They remain until every wish they've protected finally reaches its owner." As they walked farther, tiny glowing birds landed along the stone path before them. Unlike ordinary birds, their feathers looked as though they had been woven from moonlight itself. One hopped onto Oliver's shoulder. It chirped softly. Then, a tiny glowing ribbon appeared in its beak. Oliver unfolded it carefully. On the ribbon were only 6 simple words. "You were enough all along." Oliver smiled quietly. "I think someone needed to hear this." The little bird happily fluttered away. Horace looked thoughtfully toward the rooftops. "Every message is waiting for the right listener." The keeper nodded. "Kind words always know where they belong." Soon they arrived at the heart of the city. There stood an enormous circular library. Its walls were built from crystal and white stone. Its roof shimmered beneath the stars like polished glass. Above its entrance, graceful silver letters glowed softly. "The Library of Unspoken Dreams." Mira stopped. "A library?" The keeper smiled. "Not of books, of hearts." The great doors slowly opened. Inside, endless shelves stretched farther than the eye could see. But instead of books, every shelf held glowing glass bottles. Each bottle contained a tiny silver light. Some glowed brightly, others flickered gently. Some had waited so long that their light had become almost invisible. Grandmother Linnea walked carefully between the shelves. "So many," the keeper answered softly. "Each bottle carries one wish that was never spoken, or one kind word that never reached the person who needed it." Captain Rowan gently touched one bottle. Immediately, a quiet voice echoed through the library. "I'm sorry I never came back." The bottle glowed warmly, then returned to silence. Mira felt tears forming in her eyes. So many people, still waiting. The keeper looked at her with gentle kindness. That is why the bridge chooses new travelers. It cannot carry every wish alone. At that moment, a single bottle high upon the tallest shelf began shining brighter than all the others. The silver light inside swirled like a tiny galaxy. Slowly, it floated down into the keeper's hands. The keeper held it carefully before Mira. "This one has been waiting longer than any other." Mira looked inside. Instead of a single light, she saw the faint image of a young boy standing beside a lonely stone bridge, holding a folded paper boat. His face was calm, patient, hopeful. The keeper's voice became almost a whisper. "He has been waiting for over 100 years." The library fell completely silent. Even the stars above seemed to pause. The keeper gently placed the glowing bottle into Mira's hands. "I believe he has been waiting for you." The bottle grew warm. The mysterious blue letter inside Mira's pocket shimmered one more time. A final line slowly appeared beneath the others. Every forgotten wish begins with a single promise kept. Far beyond the peaceful city, a silver bell rang once. Its sound echoed across the whispering bridge. Somewhere, someone's long-awaited story was finally ready to be told. The boy who waited beside the bridge. The glowing bottle rested gently in Mira's hands. Its silver light pulsed slowly, like the calm heartbeat of a sleeping world. No one spoke. Even the library of unspoken dreams seemed to hold its breath. The keeper looked toward the countless shelves surrounding them. For 100 years, this little light has never faded. That alone tells us something. Mira carefully lifted the crystal bottle closer to her face. Inside, the young boy remained standing beside the old stone bridge. He held a tiny paper boat against his chest. His eyes were fixed on the opposite side of the river. Waiting, always waiting. Oliver whispered, "Who is he?" The keeper gently rested a hand upon the bottle. His name was Elias. He lived in a quiet village where two families were separated by a wide river. There was only one bridge connecting them. Captain Rowan listened silently. The keeper continued. Elias had one dear friend. Every evening, they met in the middle of that bridge. They shared stories. They folded paper boats. They promised that no matter what happened, they would always return before sunset. Grandmother Linnea smiled sadly. A beautiful promise. The keeper nodded, until one autumn morning. The bridge was destroyed by a great flood. Mira looked at the tiny boy inside the bottle. So they couldn't meet anymore? They couldn't. The river became too dangerous. The families moved away. But every evening, Elias still came. He stood beside the broken bridge, with a paper boat in his hands. Oliver lowered his eyes. How long did he wait? The keeper answered softly. For the rest of his life. Silence settled over the library. Only the faint glow of the crystal bottle filled the room. Mira gently touched the glass. At once, the library disappeared. She found herself standing beside Elias. The air smelled of rain and wildflowers. A gentle river flowed quietly before them. The broken bridge stretched only halfway across the water. The other half had long since vanished. Elias smiled as though he had always expected someone to arrive. "You found me." His voice was peaceful, not lonely, not sorrowful, simply kind. Mira smiled back. "I think you've been waiting." He nodded. "I made a promise. I couldn't leave until someone carried it." He carefully unfolded the little paper boat. Inside rested a tiny silver feather. My friend loved watching birds. We promised that if we were ever separated, we would send our wishes across the river. But the bridge disappeared, so my wish never crossed. Mira gently accepted the feather. It felt warm, almost alive. "What was your wish?" Elias looked toward the endless sky. His smile grew brighter. "I only wanted my friend to know that I never stopped waiting." As those words left his lips, the broken bridge before them slowly began rebuilding itself. One silver stone appeared, then another, until the bridge once again stretched gracefully across the quiet river. On the opposite side, a second child appeared, holding an identical paper boat. The two friends looked at one another. Neither spoke. They simply smiled. Sometimes, the longest journeys ended with only a smile. The silver feather in Mira's hand dissolved into countless glowing lights. The vision slowly faded. She found herself once again inside the library of unspoken dreams. The crystal bottle was now empty. Its gentle light had finally been set free. The keeper smiled warmly. One forgotten wish has finally found its way home. At that very moment, a deep, melodic bell echoed across the city of forgotten wishes. Every glowing bottle in the library shimmered together. High above, the stars brightened until the entire city sparkled like a sea of moonlight. Then, a new doorway slowly appeared at the far end of the library. Unlike the others, its frame was carved from living silver vines covered in tiny white blossoms. Above it were engraved 5 simple words: "The garden where wishes bloom." The keeper looked at Mira with quiet joy. "The bridge has accepted your first promise, but your greatest journey," he smiled gently, "is only beginning. The garden where wishes bloom." The doorway of living silver vines opened slowly. Beyond it, a warm breeze carried the delicate fragrance of jasmine, lavender, and white roses. Mira stepped through first. The others followed quietly. Before them stretched a breathtaking garden unlike any place they had ever seen. There were no straight paths. Instead, gentle stone walkways curved gracefully through endless fields of glowing flowers. Every blossom shone with its own soft light. Some glowed golden, some shimmered silver. Others reflected every color of the dawn. Tiny streams wound peacefully between the flower beds, their waters sparkling beneath the eternal twilight sky. Oliver took a deep breath. "It feels like the garden is alive." The keeper smiled. "It is. This is the garden where wishes bloom. No flower grows from soil. They grow from fulfilled kindness." Mira knelt beside a small white blossom. It was no larger than her hand. Its petals glowed softly like moonlight. As she gently touched it, the flower opened. A tiny voice floated into the air. "Thank you for believing in me." The blossom released hundreds of tiny silver lights that drifted upward like fireflies before disappearing among the stars. Grandmother Linnea smiled. "Every flower carries a story." Horace nodded. "And every story became beautiful because someone chose kindness." As they wandered deeper into the garden, they noticed something unusual. Thousands of flowers bloomed everywhere. But near the center of the garden stood a single empty circle of earth. Nothing grew there, not even grass. The keeper stopped beside it. "This place has waited longer than any other." Mira looked down. "Why hasn't anything bloomed?" The keeper lowered his ancient staff. "Because one wish has never been completed." Captain Rowan quietly asked, "Is it the oldest wish?" The keeper nodded. "The very first." Silence settled gently over the garden. Then, the earth beneath the empty circle began glowing faintly. Slowly, a tiny crystal seed rose from the ground. It floated into Mira's hands. Inside the seed, she could see countless tiny stars swirling together. "It feels warm," she whispered. "It has been waiting," replied the keeper. "For someone who understands that wishes are not gifts we receive. They are gifts we give." Oliver tilted his head. "So, how do we make it bloom?" The keeper smiled. "It cannot be planted with hands. It must be planted with the heart." Just then, the mysterious blue letter shimmered once again. Its final hidden message appeared. "The greatest wish is the one given away without expecting anything in return." Mira closed her eyes. She thought of Elias, of the lonely voices in the ancient well, of the glowing bottles in the library, of every forgotten goodbye, every quiet act of kindness, every gentle promise. Then, without speaking, she made another wish. May every person who feels forgotten discover that someone, somewhere, still remembers them. The crystal seed began shining brilliantly. It floated gently from Mira's hands, settling into the empty circle of earth. For one peaceful heartbeat, nothing happened. Then, a tiny green sprout emerged. It grew slowly, gracefully. Its stem shimmered like silver glass. Its branches stretched toward the stars. Within moments, it became a magnificent tree unlike any they had ever seen. Its leaves glowed like emeralds kissed by moonlight. Its blossoms sparkled with golden light, and hanging from every branch were delicate crystal flowers, each humming with a different forgotten wish that had finally found its home. The entire garden awakened. Every flower bloomed at once, the air filled with gentle laughter, quiet gratitude, and peaceful songs carried by the evening breeze. The keeper smiled with tears of quiet joy. For 100 years, this tree waited. And today, the tree of returned wishes lives again. As everyone stood beneath its glowing branches, a single crystal blossom drifted gently into Mira's hands. Inside its petals, another path appeared, not across the garden, but beyond the horizon itself. Far away, a silver mountain rose above the clouds. At its summit stood a solitary tower, glowing beneath the stars. The keeper looked toward the distant peak. His voice became almost a whisper. There is one final place, where every journey upon the Whispering Bridge must end. Captain Rowan lifted his lantern. Its golden light pointed toward the mountain. The next chapter of their adventure had already begun. The tower that remembered tomorrow. The crystal blossom rested gently in Mira's hands. Its delicate petals glowed with a peaceful silver light. Inside, the image of the distant mountain slowly became clearer. At its summit stood a solitary tower, tall and graceful, its white stones reflecting the endless twilight. For a long moment, no one spoke. The keeper gazed toward the mountain with quiet reverence. Few travelers ever reach the Tower of Tomorrow, and even fewer are invited inside. Oliver looked at the glowing blossom. Why does it remember tomorrow? The keeper smiled. Because tomorrow is built from every kind choice we make today. Captain Rowan adjusted his lantern. Then we should keep walking. Without another word, they left the garden where wishes bloom. A narrow path of silver stones appeared beneath their feet. It wound gently through fields of glowing grass, climbed quiet hills, and crossed streams so still they reflected not the sky above, but the dreams hidden within each traveler. As they crossed the first stream, Mira paused. Instead of her own reflection, she saw Noah. He was standing outside the little white cottage, smiling as he welcomed a weary traveler to the door. Mira smiled warmly. He found his own path. Grandmother Linnea nodded. Kindness always continues its journey. Oliver looked into the water beside her. He saw himself much older, surrounded by children as he carved tiny wooden birds for them. Horace chuckled softly. The stream doesn't show what will happen. It shows what your heart is growing toward. Captain Rowan glanced into the water. For a long moment, he remained silent. Then he smiled. I think I've finally found home. The keeper's eyes reflected quiet understanding. Some journeys end not with a destination, but with belonging. The path continued upward until they reached the foot of the Silver Mountain. Its slopes were covered with glowing white pines. Every branch shimmered like frost beneath moonlight. Tiny lanterns floated between the trees without strings or hands to guide them. They drifted silently, lighting the winding trail toward the summit. The climb was peaceful. No one grew tired. Every step felt lighter than the last, as though the mountain itself gently carried those whose hearts were free of regret. Hours later, they reached the summit. The Tower of Tomorrow stood before them. It wasn't enormous. In fact, it looked surprisingly simple. Built from smooth white stone, its circular walls were wrapped in climbing silver ivy. Hundreds of tiny clocks were carved into its surface. Yet, none of them had hands, only empty faces. Oliver frowned. They're all unfinished. Horace smiled knowingly. No, they're waiting. Before the great wooden door stood an elderly woman dressed in robes the color of the dawn. Her long silver hair flowed gently in the breeze. Around her neck hung a small crystal hourglass. Instead of sand, tiny stars slowly drifted from one chamber to the other. She greeted them with a warm smile. "I've been expecting you." The keeper bowed respectfully. "Lady Seraphine, the bridge has brought its newest listener." Lady Seraphine looked gently into Mira's eyes. "I know." She smiled. "The tower has whispered your name for many nights." Mira stepped forward. "Are you the guardian of this place?" Lady Seraphine shook her head. "No, I am only the keeper of tomorrow's possibilities." She slowly opened the great wooden door. Inside, thousands of handless clocks floated peacefully through the air. Each one glowed with a different color: gold, silver, blue, rose, emerald. The entire tower hummed with a soft melody, as though time itself had become a lullaby. Lady Seraphine extended her hand toward one small silver clock. It drifted gently into Mira's palms. "This clock belongs to no one." Yet, Mira looked closely. The empty clock face suddenly began to shimmer. Very slowly, a single golden hand appeared. Then another. They moved only once, before stopping forever. The time displayed was 8:08. Mira looked up. "What does it mean?" Lady Seraphine smiled mysteriously. "It is not an hour. It is a promise. When the final wish finds its way home, the Tower of Tomorrow will ring, and every unfinished clock will begin to tell its own story." Just then, a deep bell echoed from somewhere high above the tower. Once, twice, then a third time. The floating clocks all turned toward the highest chamber. A soft golden light spilled down the spiral staircase. Lady Seraphine's gentle smile faded into quiet wonder. "It has begun," the keeper whispered. "The heart bell has awakened, and someone has just remembered the wish they were never meant to forget." The golden light grew brighter, inviting the travelers upward. At the top of the tower, one final secret waited beneath the endless stars. The heart bell secret. The golden staircase spiraled upward through the center of the Tower of Tomorrow. Its steps seemed to be carved from pure sunlight, glowing softly beneath each careful footstep. No one hurried. Every step carried a quiet feeling of anticipation. Above them, the gentle sound of the heart bell continued to echo, not loudly, but deeply, Its melodies seemed to flow through every heartbeat. Lady Seraphine walked beside Mira. The heart bell has only rung a handful of times in all the centuries this tower has stood. Oliver looked up. What makes it ring? Lady Seraphine smiled. It rings whenever a heart remembers its truest purpose. Captain Rowan quietly held his lantern close. Its golden flame flickered in harmony with the bell's gentle rhythm. At last, the staircase ended. Before them stood a pair of magnificent doors made from crystal and silver oak. Unlike every door they had seen before, these carried no lock, no handle, only a single inscription, open only with truth. The keeper stepped forward. He placed one gentle hand upon the door. Nothing happened. Horace tried next. The crystal remained perfectly still. Oliver frowned. It won't open. Lady Seraphine turned toward Mira. It isn't waiting for strength. It is waiting for honesty. Mira slowly approached. She closed her eyes. She thought about every step of their journey. The lonely well, the hall of echoing hearts, Elias and his paper boat, the garden where wishes bloom. She realized something. Throughout the journey, she had been trying to help forgotten wishes find their homes. But she had never asked herself, what was her own wish? She placed her hand gently upon the crystal door. In a whisper, barely louder than the wind, she spoke. My greatest wish is not to be remembered. She paused. A peaceful smile appeared on her face. It is simply to help others know they were never forgotten. For one silent heartbeat, nothing moved. Then, the crystal doors began glowing with brilliant silver light. Tiny stars danced across their surface. The inscription disappeared. Without making the slightest sound, the doors slowly opened. A warm breeze drifted through the tower. Inside was a circular chamber unlike any they had ever seen. The ceiling was open to the endless heavens. Stars shone so close they seemed almost within reach. At the very center of the chamber stood the heart bell. It was enormous, cast from silver that shimmered like moonlight upon calm water. Instead of carvings, its surface held thousands of tiny handwritten messages. Every one of them began with the same words. I hope. Mira stepped closer. She gently read a few. I hope you found happiness. I hope you forgave yourself. I hope you knew you were loved. I hope you never felt alone. Grandmother Linnea's eyes filled with quiet tears. So many hopes. Lady Seraphine nodded. Every hope spoken with love becomes part of the heart bell. It carries them across every tomorrow. Just then, the great bell rang again. Its sound spread across the stars like gentle waves across a peaceful lake. At once, thousands of tiny lights rose from the bell and drifted into the night sky. Each light became a glowing bird. White doves, golden robins, silver swallows, blue sparrows. They flew outward in every direction. Oliver watched in amazement. Where are they going? The keeper answered softly. To every heart that has forgotten hope. As the final bird disappeared beyond the stars, a single feather floated slowly down. It landed softly in Mira's hands. Unlike every feather she had seen before, this one shimmered with every color of dawn. Lady Seraphine smiled. The bridge has chosen you. The feather of dawn is given only to those who carry hope without asking for anything in return. Suddenly, the feather began glowing. It pointed toward the far horizon, beyond the mountains, beyond the clouds. A distant island appeared beneath the starlight. floating gently in the endless sky. At its center, a single white lighthouse shone brighter than every star around it. The keeper gazed toward the island with quiet reverence. The final destination, the Isle of First Light. Lady Seraphine lowered her head respectfully. There, the very first wish ever spoken still waits. The heart bell rang one final time. Its beautiful melody echoed across the whispering bridge, as the stars themselves seemed to guide the travelers toward the last chapter of their extraordinary journey. The Isle of First Light. The feather of dawn rested gently in Mira's hands. Its colors shifted softly with every heartbeat. Gold, silver, rose, azure, as though the first sunrise of the world had been woven into a single feather. The heart bell's final note slowly faded into silence, yet its warmth remained. Lady Seraphine smiled. The feather remembers the way. Without another word, the feather lifted itself into the air. It floated beyond the open chamber, leaving behind a trail of tiny stars. Mira and her companions followed. Outside the tower, the silver mountain had changed. A narrow bridge of light now stretched from its highest peak across the endless sky. At the far end, the floating island shone beneath the stars. It seemed untouched by time. Captain Rowan gazed toward the horizon. I've sailed countless seas, but never one like this. The keeper smiled. Emotions are crossed not by ships, but by hope. They stepped onto the bridge. Unlike the whispering bridge, this path felt wonderfully warm beneath their feet. Tiny flowers of light bloomed wherever they walked. Each blossom disappeared after only a moment, leaving behind a faint melody. Oliver laughed softly. The path is singing. Horace nodded. It celebrates every traveler who reaches this far. The island slowly grew nearer. White cliffs rose gracefully from soft silver clouds. Crystal waterfalls flowed upward instead of down. Ancient trees shimmered with leaves that looked like tiny stars. Everything glowed with the gentle light of a never-ending dawn. As they stepped onto the island, a peaceful stillness welcomed them. There were no birds, no wind, only the quiet rhythm of distant waves beneath the floating land. At the center of the island stood the white lighthouse. It was unlike any lighthouse Captain Rowan had ever seen. There was no glass lantern at its summit. Instead, a brilliant star floated above the tower, lighting the heavens in every direction. Grandmother Linnea whispered, "So this is the Isle of First Light." The keeper bowed his head. This is where the very first wish found hope. They walked slowly toward the lighthouse. Its great doors stood slightly open, as though expecting them. Inside, a spiral staircase circled gently upward. The walls were covered with paintings, not of places, but of moments. A stranger offering shelter, a child sharing a blanket, an old woman planting a tree she would never see fully grown, a father teaching his daughter to read, a musician playing for someone who could no longer hear. Oliver looked carefully at one painting. "These aren't famous people." "No," the keeper replied. "They are ordinary souls. But every act of kindness they offered changed the world in ways they never knew." As they climbed higher, the air became brighter, warmer. At the top of the lighthouse, they entered a circular room open to the sky. Floating above a simple stone pedestal was a single glowing flame. It burned without smoke, without heat, without consuming anything. It was calm, gentle, Eternal. Mira stared in wonder. The first light. The keeper nodded. It has never gone out. Every kind wish ever spoken has quietly added to its glow. Lady Seraphine stepped beside the flame. When the world grows heavy with fear, it is this light that reminds hope to rise again. Suddenly, the feather of dawn drifted from Mira's hand. It floated into the center of the eternal flame. Instead of burning, it became pure light. The entire lighthouse filled with a warm, golden radiance. Outside, every star in the heavens shimmered at once. Then, a soft voice echoed through the room. Not loud, not distant, but wonderfully familiar. One promise remains. Everyone looked around. There was no one there, only the quiet flame. The keeper slowly closed his eyes. "I know that voice," Grandmother Linnea whispered. "So do I." The flame gently changed shape. Within its light, the outline of a person slowly appeared, an elderly traveler, holding a wooden walking staff, smiling with peaceful eyes. Mira felt her heart grow still. She had never met him before, yet somehow, he felt like someone she had always known. The glowing figure spoke one final sentence. "The greatest wish is not the one you receive, but the one you inspire in another heart." As the words faded, the entire lighthouse trembled ever so gently. Far below, the sea of clouds began glowing brighter than ever before. The Isle of First Light had revealed its greatest secret, but one final chapter still remained. The last promise of the first listener. The lighthouse grew silent once more. The glowing figure slowly dissolved back into the eternal flame. Yet, his final words lingered in every heart. "The greatest wish is not the one you receive, but the one you inspire in another heart." No one spoke. Sometimes, the deepest truths needed no reply. The first light burned more brightly than before, filling the circular chamber with a gentle warmth. Outside, the stars seemed closer than ever, as though they too were listening. Mira stepped toward the stone pedestal. At its base, she noticed something she had not seen before. A small wooden box. Simple, unadorned. Time had polished its surface until it glowed softly beneath the light. There was no lock, only a single carving. A tiny paper boat. Mira looked at the keeper. "May I?" The keeper smiled. "It has been waiting for you." She carefully lifted the lid. Inside rested only one object. A folded letter. Its paper had turned the color of ivory with age. Across the front, written in graceful blue ink, were the words, "To whoever arrives last." Mira unfolded the letter with great care. The handwriting was steady and kind. She began to read aloud. "If you are reading this, then the whispering bridge still stands. That means kindness has not disappeared from the world. Perhaps it has become quieter. Perhaps people sometimes forget, but it still lives. I was the first listener. Long ago, I discovered that every gentle word creates a path that someone else may one day follow. I could not carry every forgotten wish alone, so I built nothing. I simply listened. Others continued the journey. And now, you have continued it too. Do not search for people who can change the whole world. Instead, become the person who changes one quiet moment, one lonely heart, one forgotten smile, one gentle goodbye. If enough people do that, the world will never lose its light. When you finish reading, leave this letter here. Another traveler will one day need these words. The bridge belongs to no generation. It belongs to everyone. Silence embraced the room. A peaceful silence. Grandmother Linnea gently wiped a tear from her cheek. My grandmother used to say almost those exact words. Horace smiled softly. Perhaps she once stood exactly where we are now. Captain Rowan looked toward the eternal flame. I've crossed countless oceans, but this has been the greatest voyage of my life. Oliver quietly folded the letter again. So the first listener never wanted to be remembered. The keeper nodded. He wished only for kindness to continue. And today, it has. Just then, the eternal flame shimmered. From its center rose hundreds of tiny lights. They floated around the travelers like glowing fireflies. Each light carried a whisper, not of sadness, not of regret, but of gratitude. Thank you. I found my way. I was finally heard. I wasn't forgotten. The whispers drifted upward through the open roof and became new stars in the endless sky. Then, the entire lighthouse began glowing with brilliant golden light. Outside, across the Isle of First Light, every tree, every flower, every crystal stream answered with the same gentle radiance. Far away, even the whispering bridge shimmered beneath the stars. The keeper looked toward the horizon. It is time. Mira tilted her head. Time for what? The keeper smiled warmly. To take the light home. As he spoke, the eternal flame slowly released a single golden spark. It floated gently toward Mira. The tiny light rested softly above her hands. Warm, peaceful, alive. It did not burn. It simply glowed, like hope itself. The keeper's voice became almost a whisper. Protect it not with your hands, but with your heart. Beyond the lighthouse windows, the first colors of dawn began appearing along the horizon. Their extraordinary journey was almost complete. Only one final farewell remained. The journey home beneath the first dawn. The tiny golden spark hovered gently above Mira's open hands. It glowed with a quiet warmth, not bright enough to blind, not dim enough to disappear. It was the kind of light that asked for nothing, yet offered comfort to everyone who saw it. The keeper smiled. The first light has chosen its next traveler. Mira looked at the little flame with wonder. Will it stay with me forever? The keeper gently shook his head. No, it will stay only until someone else needs it more than you. Grandmother Linnea smiled softly. That is how kindness has always traveled. It never belongs to one person. It simply passes from heart to heart. Outside the lighthouse, the eastern sky slowly began changing. For the first time since entering the Whispering Bridge, the stars faded. A gentle sunrise spread across the floating clouds. Soft shades of gold, rose, lavender, and pale blue painted the endless sky. Captain Rowan quietly watched the horizon. I've seen thousands of sunrises, but never one that felt like this. Horace nodded. This isn't the beginning of a day. It's the beginning of many. They slowly descended the spiral staircase. As they passed each painted wall, something wonderful happened. The paintings began to move. The young girl sharing her blanket smiled. The old woman planting a tree watched tiny green leaves appear. The father teaching his daughter gently closed the book and hugged her. Every act of kindness continued growing. Long after the moment itself had ended, Oliver stopped before one final painting. It was different from the others. The canvas was completely blank. Only a tiny silver frame surrounded it. He looked at the keeper. "Why isn't this one finished?" The keeper smiled knowingly. "It isn't waiting for paint. It's waiting for you." Oliver looked surprised. "For me? For all of you?" Every traveler leaves one final story behind. As they watched, the blank canvas slowly began filling itself. First, a quiet valley. Then, the little white cottage. The lavender garden. Captain Rowan's lantern. Horace's silver pocket watch. Grandmother Linnea smiling beneath the old oak tree. Oliver carving tiny wooden birds. And finally, Mira standing beside the whispering bridge, holding the golden spark. The painting became complete. Yet beneath it, one space remained empty, a small silver plaque. Without anyone touching it, letters slowly appeared. The listener who carried hope home. Mira quietly lowered her eyes. "I don't deserve a title." The keeper smiled warmly. "It isn't a reward. It is simply how the bridge will remember this journey." Outside, the bridge of light leading back toward the mountains slowly appeared once more. Its silver stones shimmered beneath the newborn sunrise. Lady Seraphine bowed gently. "The world beyond is waiting." Grandmother Linnea took one last look at the lighthouse. "We may never return." The keeper looked toward the endless horizon. "Perhaps not, but every act of kindness will always find its way back here." Captain Rowan lifted his lantern one final time. Its golden flame merged briefly with the tiny spark above Mira's hands. Then the travelers began walking home. With every peaceful step, the Isle of First Light slowly drifted farther into the morning sky, not disappearing, simply returning to the quiet place where forgotten wishes patiently waited. As they reached the middle of the bridge, a single white dove flew overhead. It circled them once, then released a tiny feather. The feather floated gently onto the bridge, where it transformed into a delicate white flower. The keeper smiled. The bridge has accepted its newest memory. Far behind them, the lighthouse shone one final time. Its eternal flame sent a slender beam of golden light across the heavens, as though quietly whispering, "The journey is never truly over." Ahead, the familiar valley slowly came into view. Home was close, but before they could cross the final stone of the Whispering Bridge, one last miracle was waiting. Every heart becomes a bridge. The valley welcomed them with the quiet beauty of early morning. Soft golden sunlight rested upon the little white cottage. Lavender flowers swayed gently in the breeze. The river sparkled peacefully beneath the old stone bridge. It looked exactly as they had left it, and yet everything felt different. Mira stepped onto the familiar garden path. The tiny golden spark still floated above her hands. It had become softer now. Its light no longer reached the horizon. Instead, it seemed content simply to warm the little cottage. Grandmother Linnea smiled. Home always looks different after a journey. Captain Rowan quietly placed his lantern upon the old wooden table beside the window. For the first time, its golden flame slowly faded, not because it had gone out, but because the morning itself had become its light. Horace carefully returned his silver pocket watch to his pocket. It began ticking once more. Steady, gentle, peaceful. Oliver stepped outside and placed a handful of birdseed upon the garden wall. Within moments, tiny sparrows landed beside him. Among them, one small white dove. the very same dove that had followed them across the whispering bridge. It carried a single silver feather. The dove laid the feather beside the book of gentle stories resting on the windowsill. The book trembled softly. Its cover slowly opened by itself. Blank pages turned one after another until they reached a completely empty chapter. Golden letters began appearing as though written by invisible hands. Chapter 21. The Whispering Bridge of Forgotten Wishes. There are bridges built from stone. There are bridges built from wood. And there are bridges that can never be seen. They are built whenever one heart chooses kindness over fear. Whenever someone listens before speaking. Whenever forgiveness is offered without being asked. Those bridges carry the world farther than any road. May every traveler remember that the greatest journey is not across rivers, but toward another human heart. As the final sentence appeared, the book gently closed. Its golden lantern emblem shone brighter than ever before. Then, the tiny golden spark floating above Mira's hands drifted slowly toward the cover. It disappeared into the lantern emblem. For one peaceful heartbeat, the lantern glowed like a tiny sunrise. Then its light became wonderfully calm. The journey had become part of the book forever. Outside, a gentle knock echoed at the cottage door. Everyone looked toward the entrance. Mira opened it. Standing there was a young traveler, no older than 16. A small satchel rested upon his shoulder. His clothes were dusty from a long journey. He smiled politely. "I'm sorry to disturb you. I was told there might be someone here who listens." Mira smiled. The same quiet smile grandmother Linnea had once given her. "You've come to the right place." She stepped aside. "Please, come in." The young traveler entered. Captain Rowan quietly poured a cup of warm tea. Oliver offered him fresh bread. Horace pulled a comfortable chair closer to the fire. Grandmother Linnea simply smiled. No questions were asked. None were needed. The keeper's words returned gently to Mira's heart. The bridge belongs to everyone. She finally understood. The Whispering Bridge had never been hidden among mountains. It had never truly existed only in another world. Its real home was every place where kindness was freely given. Every listening ear, every patient heart, every gentle word, every welcoming home. The cottage itself had become another whispering bridge. Outside, the white dove lifted gracefully into the morning sky. It circled the cottage once, then disappeared beyond the golden horizon. Far away, beyond forests, beyond rivers, beyond time itself, the whispering bridge shimmered softly beneath the stars, waiting peacefully, not for heroes, not for kings, only for ordinary people who still believed that a single kind word could change someone's entire world. And somewhere, perhaps tonight, another mysterious white envelope had already begun its quiet journey, searching for the next listener. Crescent moon sleep blessing. As the evening grows quiet and the stars begin to shine above your own home, may you remember that kindness is never too small to matter. May every gentle word you share become a bridge for someone else. May every goodbye carry hope. May every tomorrow begin with compassion. And as you close your eyes tonight, may your dreams drift peacefully across the whispering bridge, knowing that no kind heart is ever truly forgotten. Thank you for visiting Golden Haven. Sleep peacefully, and we'll meet again in the next gentle story.